Okay, hello Bio 2. We are starting a new chapter today. We're continuing on the theme of plants, and this is chapter 23. And the title of this chapter is Roots, Stems, and Leaves. So this chapter is going to focus on the functions of each one of these in particular. And so we're going to jump right in with section 1 of this chapter, and the section is titled Specialized Tissues in Plants. So tissues, the human body has a bunch of different types of tissues, and plants are the same way. So we're going to look at those. And before we start, we're going to look at the three principal organs and tissues of seed plants. So our first organs that we have are roots, stems, and leaves. And these organs perform functions such as the transport of nutrients, that would be more like the roots, and probably the stems, protection, and coordination of plant activities. So remember these three main topics here. This is the title of our chapter, so these are going to be important: roots, stems, and leaves. And we're going to talk about the function of each one of these. Roots, their function is to absorb water and dissolve nutrients. They're going to anchor the plants to the ground, and that just means to anchor is just like to hold something down, so they're going to keep the plants in the ground. And they protect the plant from harmful soil, bacteria, and fungi. So fungi, sorry, I kept struggling saying that word. And so that's just going to be like the fact that roots aren't going to let anything come up into the plant and affect them in a negative manner. They're going to they're only going to allow certain things in. So those are three functions of the root: to absorb water and dissolve nutrients, anchor plants to the ground, and to protect the plant from harmful soil, bacteria, and fungi. And stems is our next one, and the function of the stems is to provide a support system for the plant body, a transport system that carries nutrients, and a defense system that protects the plants against predators and disease. So if we don't know what the stem of a plant is, it's kind of just like what our leaves are always branching off of and things like that. So there's their three functions. They support the system for the plant body, so that would be maybe like our xylem and our phloem and things like that. And the transport system that carries nutrients, the defense system that protects the plant against predators and disease. So that is all the functions of the stem. Now moving on to our last main organ are the leaves. Leaves are a plant's main photosynthetic system, and they increase the amount of sunlight plants absorb. So I think we have gone over the function of the leaves. The reason why they have the shape that they do is because they are to maximize the absorption of sunlight. So they are photosynthetic organs, and they also have adjustable pores that allow them to conserve water and let oxygen and carbon dioxide enter and exit the leaf. And we will, I'm sure when we actually get to the section about leaves, we will get more in depth with those. So just for now, know that they are the plant's main photosynthetic system, and they increase the amount of sunlight plants can absorb. And keep in mind about these adjustable pores, because I'm sure they will get brought up in a later section. And so now, those are our three organs. So we have leaves, stems, and roots. And remember, these are not in all plants, these are just of the seed plants. So don't forget that. We're not talking about our bryophytes here, we're just talking about the seed plants. And we're not talking about the ferns either, because they did not have seeds. So we're talking about gymnosperms and angiosperms here. And so our three main tissues that we have, make these a little bit bigger. We have dermal tissue, vascular tissue, and ground tissue. So here's our three: dermal tissue, vascular tissue, and ground tissue. I think today we will only get to dermal. We'll get to vascular and ground in our next video. And here's a picture. Again, this is just kind of a breakdown of the different types of tissue that are present in the different structures. We'll get more in depth with this, but this might be a nice picture to help look at, just to kind of break down what types of tissues are where. So the leaf looks like it has, you can see dermal tissue on the going around the outside. Well, they all, actually, if you look at them, they all have dermal tissue going around the outside, and vascular tissue kind of more on the inside, as well as the ground tissue. So that's not, don't need to memorize this, but we will take a look at it more in depth later. And some specifics of the dermal tissue. This is the outer covering of our, I made that too small. These are the outer covering of the plant. It consists of epidermal cells, and epidermal cells make up the dermal tissue. and the outer surface of epidermal cells are covered with a thick, waxy layer known as the cuticle, and the cuticle protects the plant against water loss and injury. So the dermal tissue is just basically like the skin of the plant, and I think the epidermal cells, that is the same name that humans have for our skin cells, so they serve the same function. So dermal cells, they make up a cuticle which protects the plant against water loss and injury, and they are just basically like their skin. And some other specifics: some epidermal cells have projections called trichomes that help protect the leaf and also give it a fuzzy appearance. So trichomes are a protective part of the leaf. Put that one in bold. And in roots, dermal tissue includes root hair cells that provide a large amount of surface area and aid in water absorption. So that's another function. They're not just on the plant, or not just on the leaves, they're on the roots as well to make up the root hair cells that provide a large amount of surface area. And then on the underside of leaves, dermal tissue contains guard cells which regulate water loss and gas exchange. So that is it for this lesson. If you have any questions, let me know.